Grace, mercy, and peace from God our Father and from Jesus our Lord. This is the day that the Lord has made. We're glad and we're rejoicing therein. It's a good day to be alive. It's a good day to be in formation study with each and every one of you, doing what the scripture taught us, because we know that the scripture says that we should study to show ourselves approved unto God. I am super excited today. Number one, because it's still my birthday weekend, and I am celebrating 33 all month long. I am super excited. And number two, I'm excited because of who our guest is this month for formation. Pastor Darold Montgomery is one of those voices in my life that means the world to me. He's been a mentor to me, oh Lord, since before I was knee-high to a grasshopper. He's taught me through trial after trial after trial after trial. He's been wisdom in every pastoral assignment. And I also want to point out right here that on December the 30th in 2017, he did the honors of marrying me to your first lady. And so that's almost been almost been 4 years ago come December, and I'm happy to introduce him, bring him to be a part of Formation Saturday with GB. Let's welcome Pastor Darold Montgomery. Good morning, Pastor. How are you?
Doing well, sir. How you doing this morning, man?
I am well. And I'm just excited. GB, I want you to understand that we're fruit inspectors. And we follow people with great fruit. And Pastor Darold, for Lord have mercy, nearly 20 years, has produced great fruit in Pensacola, which is why I wanted him to be a part of this conversation. And so every year I have this conversation with Pastor D, and I'm inviting you in to my private conversation. So all of the pearls and nuggets that are dropped, you owe me an offering, because this was supposed to be mine. And so this month, our formation is around small adjustments that lead to major change. Small adjustments that lead to major change. And so I'm going to pitch some questions to Pastor and see if we can learn how to make this work to our benefit. Our first question is, Pastor, what exactly is a small adjustment? What do you consider a small adjustment?
Well, by definition, first of all, a small adjustment is a slight change made to something to make something fit, or to make something work better, or to make something more suitable. Now, me being, a jackleg builder, if you will, I'm well familiar with making small adjustments to make stuff fit or to make it work better. Sometimes when I'm building or I'm putting something together, erecting a wall or a partition or separating a room or whatever, sometimes you got to take your hammer and tap it just a little bit, just not hit it hard, but just tap it a little bit. And just that little tap makes all the difference. Had I hit it hard, it would have knocked it over where it was supposed to be. And now I have to come back and straighten something else out. Small cuts, sometimes if you cut too much, now you can't use the wood. You have to make small cuts, just slight blade size cuts until you get it just right. And so when you're talking about small adjustments in life, sometimes it's not the big things that you do. It's not the big moves that you do. Sometimes it's just small adjustments. It's not even about sometimes relocation. Sometimes people relocate. You see people, it ain't working here where I'm at. I'm gonna move to a bigger city. It's a lot of times it's not so much the relocation that does it. It's more the small adjustments that make the difference, because you can make it anywhere. It just depends on what you're doing where you are. And so those small adjustments is just making a slight change. If you can just get those two words out of small adjustments, then I think you will go miles ahead.
Wow, that you've already opened up a big door there, because you talked about small hits and small cuts. And I think that that can help. When we're talking about small hits, it's just trying to move it over a little bit.
Yes.
But small cuts is how we trim down.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
So this isn't one of the questions that we prepare for, but how do I know the difference between a small hit and a small cut?
Okay. Now I'm gonna piggyback off what you just said. All right. When you're talking about hits doesn't trim, it moves the whole thing. You just tap the entire thing and move it over. Okay, but not in big modules, but just slide taps to move the whole thing over. You'd be surprised. A lot of people's lives are intact where it is, and it's the ingredients are good. It just needs to be tapped over a little bit. But then you have other people's lives. If you just trim a little bit, if you just cut just a little bit, if you just make those slim cuts, those slight, it's almost like some people's lives are so close to success, it might not even need to be a cut. You may need to just sand it.
Oh,
just
wow.
just a sand. You are one sand away, just one small layer away of it, and that could be a plethora of things. That could be associations. That could be the words that you're hearing. That could be dealing with something in your past. That could be something that you're tied to. I mean, it's a plethora of things. I mean, I can go many different directions with that. But you'd be surprised how many people are just one small thin layer away. One thin layer. I've taken wood that I know if I cut it, then I'm gonna cut too much, and I had to have what I call a money cut. It had to be spot on, and then I would take my sander and I would just sand that thing, and that thing would fit in just like a glove. If I put the blade on it, it would have been too much. But that sander sanded it, and it fit right where it's supposed to be. There are a lot of people that if they would make that real slender, real slim, I mean, just real slim, and it could be anything. It could be anything, and they have to kind of decipher that for themselves. And most people know what adjustments they need to make. They struggle with the what if issue. What if it doesn't work? What if I do this and it doesn't work? What if I do this and I fail? What if and the enemy is chief. It's chief of holding us or arresting us with what if. Mm-hmm. But if we were to just unshackle those handcuffs and just make those small, slight changes, it will move us miles ahead in our lives.
And that kind of opens the door for this next question, because the next question is, why is small adjustment so important? And what you were just sharing is that for a lot of us, the thing that's holding us back is that we haven't made that small adjustment. We need that sandpaper.
Right.
Or maybe we've been resisting the sandpaper.
Yes. Because sanding has a degree of irritation.
Okay.
It has a degree of irritation. I'm going to tell you why I said a degree of it. Because there's so many different types of sandpaper you can get. Okay. Because the thinner or the higher the number, the thinner the sandpaper is. 220 grit, 200 grit. Those are a lot thinner. But if you get down around 80 and 60 grit, that means that the rocks that's on the sandpaper are a lot larger, which means it's going to dig more into the wood. Okay, so the lower the number, the higher the higher the irritation. Okay, and that individual has to decide how much irritation do I need for me to move forward.
Oh, well, I'm telling y'all in advance, this is gold. This is gold. I need to determine how much irritation I need to make me move forward. That
some people doesn't need much irritation, and they'll move. But you got some people that need a lot of irritation for them to move. Okay.
Wow.
And that is huge. That is huge. Now, this second question, I'm gonna throw a word in there because you said, why is small adjustments so important for personal growth? It's all about trajectory.
Okay.
Trajectory. It's all about trajectory. Now, trajectory is a path followed. It's a path. or progression of development, but it's always directional. Okay. Now, when you think about trajectory is not even realized when it's close. Okay. You can't even see the result of a small adjustment when you're looking close. You have to look long. Okay. You have to look long. Okay. If I'm going in this direction right here, I'm going in this direction. If I make a small tilt, a small turn, if I just look 2 feet ahead of me, it don't look like no difference. And I've already gone. But if I keep going, if I make that small tilt, if I keep going, the longer I go, you see the difference?
That's it.
The more, right. But if it's right up close, if I make that slight and I go, I can't really tell or feel the difference. But the further I go, if I keep going this way and I made a slight change, trajectory always says long-term change. Okay, long-term change. Slight. See, this is why. Now I'm gonna flip backwards and come right back. This is why the enemy, sometimes when you're doing well, he only uses small distractions to get us off track. Okay, because if he can get us off track just a little bit, the longer we go in that new direction, the further off the path he will take us.
And it doesn't feel any different.
Doesn't feel no different because it's so minute, so minute. But the longer you do it, the further you're supposed to be going this way. But the longer you do it, the further off that path. Okay. But what happens is the velocity of your movement now causes you to develop a new normal in your mind. So I can't even tell that I've been distracted because now I have recalibrated my mind to fit the new trajectory that I'm on, and it still feels normal. Now, and anything that's normal, I equate as being right.
Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Number one, this is God. This conversation is God ordained because I'm teaching in Bible study about how our disciplines keep us from drifting.
Oh boy, that's what I'm talking about.
How our disciplines keep us from drifting. And without us having that conversation, you come right in to say that there are certain distractions that cause us to veer off path. That's all God.
Exactly.
Now, you said that whatever we call normal, we call right.
Yes. Yes.
For real?
Oh yeah. Anything that becomes normal to us, we deem it to be right. Because normal is a progression of actions that just proceed on. And we don't keep doing something over and over and over again if we don't think something wrong with it. We call it right.
Okay. Okay. And this is why, and then you also pointed out, because it's important to the small adjustment mentality, that because it's so close, we can't really tell that it's off.
Right.
It's the long term that reveals that we were off.
Yes.
So now, which opens the door for question 3.
Okay.
Question 3: when should I begin considering to make these small adjustments? This small hit, this small cut, this sand. The enemy has come in and brought a distraction. I need to make an adjustment to get back on track. I need a framework for how I can start getting myself on track when that distraction has gotten me off track. How do I work that?
All
When
right.
do I start implementing this small adjustment mentality?
All right. First, it has to do with identification. I want to throw that word in there, identification. I just finished a powerful leadership conference over in Mobile. Myself, Bishop Cook was there. KJ Mack from Birmingham was there. Apostle Madison is the one that's the overseer of it. And the theme of the conference was breaking the stagnation, because he came from this, the church being in this pandemic mode, and a lot of members have gotten stagnant, a lot of churches got stagnant, a lot of things have gotten stagnant. So his whole thing was breaking the stagnation. Okay. And so stagnation was huge. And I had to present twice, so I did two different messages, but they were heavily dealing with stagnation. Okay. Stagnation is, if the question is when should I begin considering small adjustments, stagnation has to be one of the identifiers that I even need to make small adjustments. So at the point that I notice that some areas in my life have become stagnant, have become unfruitful, have become unproductive, is the time to begin making small adjustments to improve those areas. Now, in most people's lives, all areas of that life is not stagnant, is not unfruitful, is not unproductive. You will always find where you're good over here, but you may be lacking over here. You do well over here, you're fruitful over here, productive over here, but you're lacking over here. And so when we take a holistic look at our lives, at the point that I identify stagnancy or stagnation, at the point that I identify unfruitfulness, and at the point that I identify unproductivity, that's when I want to start making small adjustments, because this is huge. This is huge, Maurice, because if I don't identify those stagnant, unfruitful, and unproductive areas, they become weights to me. And they will actually slow down or even infiltrate the productivity of the other areas in my life that do well. Because now I have to slow my life down to accommodate the dysfunction of the bad area.
This is why John 15 says, those branches in me that do not bear fruit, I take them away.
Cut them up.
Because I don't want them to poison the branches that are bearing fruit.
That's right. That's right.
And so there's a danger in leaving the unproductive in my life, because it's going to seep over.
It is.
It's going to seep over into the other areas. I may be successful over here, but the area of my dysfunction is not going to be satisfied with what it has. It's going to seek to grow. And it'll start negatively affecting the productive area of my life. And I have to, as you said, I have to start identifying.
Yes.
So how do I begin that? How do I start identifying unfruitfulness? Because again, it's my normal. So I call it right.
Right.
But it's not helpful. It's not healthy.
Well, here's where what I call knowing what success is, and success is relative to the person, to the individual. What I call success might not be what somebody else calls success. What somebody else calls success might not be what other person calls success. You got to decide what success is in your life overall. But then when you start breaking your life down, here's where self-analogy comes in. I believe it's over in 1 Corinthians 11 where Paul recites what Jesus said when it comes to the Lord's Supper. He goes on to say, if we would examine ourselves or judge ourselves, then we would not be judged. Self-examination is the microscope that allows you to identify what needs to be changed. Most people are afraid of what they will see if they examine themselves.
Oh wow. Oh wow.
They're afraid of what they'll see. But if you don't do self-examination, and you have to do this periodically, and sometimes if you're a highly productive person, if you go get a high producer, you have to always examine what you're doing. You have to always watch what you're doing, look back, evaluate, check it out, look at what you're doing. Business people have to always do this. They have to examine to see where they are, look at the bottom line, see where they ended up, see what they need to do, see what they need to fix. You know this, Maurice, from Survival to Success series.
Absolutely.
We got to always look at it at the end of every month, see where you're at, see what you missed, see what you need to do, see how you need to make adjustments. But if you don't identify, if you don't sit down and analyze, rather, if you don't analyze, you won't identify. That's the whole person, the whole purpose why we go to the doctor for a physical, so he can do examination to see what he can identify that's wrong. You got to be able to do that, and you can't be afraid of what you're gonna see. If you're afraid of what you're gonna see, then you're gonna miss out on the possibility of progress. I want progress. I don't want to be the hindrance to my own progress, because I'm afraid of what I'm going to see. Now, there's a hint of pride in that.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to tell you why there's a hint of pride in that. If I'm afraid of what I'm going to see, that means I may see something wrong. And sometimes when I think, with personally, internally, if I don't think I'd make mistakes, if I don't think I do wrong, if I don't think I can blow it, then I don't want to see it. But just because I don't see it, don't make it true.
Oh wow.
It can still be true whether or not I see it or not.
Oh wow.
You can have cancer and don't know you got it until you identify it, but that don't mean you ain't got it.
I'm a witness.
You see what I'm saying? So we have to essentially get over ourselves and really self-examine everything. In marriages, this is huge. This is huge. I have to identify what kind of husband I am. We've been married, it'll be 32 years this year. I'm still reevaluating myself, because the same husband I was in year 1 through 5, I can't do what I did then and be productive in my marriage now, because life shifts. We move, we evaluate. Year 1 through 5, we was in a 2-bedroom, 1-bath house, 780 square feet. Now we're in a 5-bedroom, 3-bath house, 3,600 and some square feet. And the whole mentality can't be the same. We're high finance producers. We generate a lot of money. Back then we had no money. So the same mindset that we used back then, we cannot use it now. But that comes through self-examination, personal examination, and then group examination. We're looking at each other. We're looking at ourselves as a marriage. But me personally, as a husband, I have to make whatever adjustments I need to make. What I did then, I can't do now. She may have new requirements that she needs right now. I got to adjust. You see what I'm saying? Okay. She might not have required certain things back then, but now she requires certain things, so I got to make adjustments. So I can't be so dogmatic and prideful that I'm not willing to make such adjustments to make sure that my marriage is fruitful now.
I'm taking notes. I want y'all to know. You just brought up something very important.
Mm-hmm.
We have to make these adjustments because life shifts. Life happens. It's not what it was.
Right.
In church culture, church is not what it was in 2019, 2020.
Exactly.
One of the things that about my time with the Great Beulah Church is we came in literally 9 weeks before the pandemic hit. Literally 9 weeks before, no, 8 weeks before the pandemic hit. We had February, and we were closed the fourth Sunday in March, and we're still in the parking lot. So now we have to shift in our perspective of how we do church.
Right.
My wife is not who she was when we married in 2017. So we have to make the adjustments.
Right.
You know, life has happened.
Yes.
And we have to embrace that.
Yes.
We have to embrace that and make the small adjustments. I'm going to open up this next question.
Hold on before you go there, because I want to throw something else in there, because the church may be helped by this. One thing that we brought out over there is church as we know it is no more. So the same mindset, the same pursuit, if you will, has to be adjusted to fit what has to go forward. Now, I think you mentioned this one of the conversations we had. You brought the term hybrid church. We haven't had a hybrid church. Being able to deal with in person at the same time, simultaneously dealing with people in the camera, and people, pastors who struggle with change are going to miss something, because remember I said there's an element of pride in it. If they want to hold on to this way I did it, this way I did it, and some of this stuff is antiquated. It is antiquated. It is outdated. You have to reimagine how church is going to be. Reimagine. Now, one of the things I said, and I don't know how much fanfare it brought over there. I told the pastors that we have to make the church more about the people and less about us. Now, I don't know how much fanfare that got, but we have to do that. And when the people know that the church is about them and not just about the man of God, it's by default about the one who's driving the bus, of course. But the bus driver has a purpose of getting the passengers where they're supposed to be, and not the passengers getting the bus driver where he's supposed to be. Are you follow what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And so what has to happen is the members have to buy into the fact that things are not going to be like they used to be, and make sure that their minds are open enough to be challenged in this new season to move forward. Because there's a great harvest out there.
There it is.
That needs us to make whatever adjustments we need to make to gather them in and bring them into the kingdom as we await Jesus' arrival.
Absolutely. I believe that the greatest hour the church has ever seen is upon us.
Yes, it is.
And it's not going to be because Pastor was a great preacher. It's going to be because the church was able to meet the needs of community.
Right.
I'm studying right now because I want to do some teaching in 2022 around household salvation and how our lives influence people. It's not necessarily what you say, is how you live. The Bible says in Acts that he gave favor. He gave favor with all men, which literally means he made them attractive to other people. And because their lifestyle was attractive, they were daily being added to the church, such as should be saved. So our lives have to become attractive, and part of that is making these small adjustments that we're talking about, so that people will want what we have.
Now, one thing, Mark. Now you open up another door, and I don't know. You may be able to use this. Last year when I spoke, now you know I'm a builder.
Absolutely.
All right. Last year when I spoke, I went down a trail. because I wanted them to hear something. I said, I have no problem with people that have issues when they come to church. You know, the church is a hospital. You know, you have people. You're going to have that. You're supposed to have that. People come in, they have issues, they have problems, they have, but we don't want them to stay there. Okay.
Absolutely.
So we want to challenge them to be better, challenge them to grow and all of that. But here's my issue. If the structure and mindset of the church is to only attract those, from a pastoral standpoint, to attract those that need my gift, then I'm only going to find myself trying to build with scraps. See, as a builder, there's pre-cut lumber that I can go buy if I want to build a wall. A standard 8-foot wall, the 2x4 is 2x4 by 92 inches, 92 and 5/8 inches. It's already pre-cut. When I get ready to build my wall, I don't have to cut nothing. All I got to do is put a string on the bottom, string on the top, nail them together, 16 inch on center, stand up my wall. I can't do that with scraps. If I do that with scraps, now I got to take the scrap, and the scrap may be 4 feet, it may be 5.5, and now I have to mend the two scraps together to make up a stud. And so what we've seen in the past, I'd say 10, 15 years, there's another pride issue, is we attract people who need my gift. So that becomes a codependent relationship between pastor and member. You need me to need you, or I need you to need me. But what that does is it scratches the itch of the pastor, but it never causes the member to grow. Well, the pandemic changed all that.
Every bit of it.
You can't lay hands through no camera. When you come to church, we got to have social distance protocols and no shaking hands and no hugging. You can't. It might not be wise to have altar calls right now.
That's right.
So your whole thought process of how church and the power of God and the Spirit of God flowing in the house, that may need to be reimagined. That does not mean it's not there, but how I acted out, how I performed or presented, is a better word, ministry,
right,
has to be reimagined. Okay.
Again, this is God. This is God. Because the series of sermons that we're preaching is about how we move from spiritual gifts to being stronger in our spiritual grace.
Man.
Yeah, it's good to have charisma, but it's more important to have character. That I can't speak in tongues and can't apologize in English. Is more important. You know, like I can't lay hands on you if I want to use those same hands to help you through your situation.
See?
This is what we're preaching and teaching right now on Sunday mornings, that our character means more to God than our charisma, than our gift, than our ability to put on the show. Yes,
it does. And we as clergy have to lead the way with how we think about that, our whole mindset. But you know me now, Mari. My question has been always real simple. How that working out for you?
Every phone call.
How that working out for you? Because see, we have to reimagine and rewire our minds as to what I believe success is. Success is not somebody falling. That's not success. But some people believe it is. Success is am I moving these people forward? Am I causing their lives to be different and changed? And I don't want to have to cut everybody that comes to my church. I don't want to have to cut them and mend them and have to make a stud out of two people. I want some people to come in that I don't have to trim, that I don't have to cut. I want to attract people because, see, how we structure ministry will depend on who we attract.
That's right.
And
That's right.
and people of influence, people of affluence, people of intelligence, educated people, educated people, high money people, when they come to our churches, they don't want to step down out of their lives to come to church.
Woo.
These people don't want to step down. They want to either make a lateral step or a upward step. Okay. Can I take you another further?
I'm taking notes. Go ahead.
Now watch this. Now, there's a concept that I taught. I still refer to it every now and then, but that's a concept that I taught. The 3 points are the lobby, the landing, and the next level. Lobby, landing, next level. What do you mean lobby? What do you mean landing? What do you mean next level? All right. The lobby is the first floor. That's where most people enter their lives when they're grown. Churches, especially when they're birthed, or we survive on that first level. Okay. Now, if God is going to elevate us to the second floor, that's the next level. Most people think that he's going to allow us to run right over to the elevator, hit a button, step in, the elevator is going to take us up.